Welcome back to my workshop. Now today it's still freezing cold in the workshop. We're in the middle of Storm Dennis. It's February 2020. Luckily I've got my nice new woolly hat on. Look at that. How good is that? Right, today I'm going to attempt to make a picture frame. Now the picture is one we got for Christmas, and it was a picture hand drawn of our dog. Now, fantastic artist. I'll give you details of who that was later in the video. So what I want to do is make a picture frame for that. In true Frank's Little Workshop style, I'm going to make it out of reclaimed material. And that material is a shelf out of an old IKEA sideboard, same as the one I made the kitchen utensil thing for. And a piece of glass, just this piece of glass, which I salvaged from a photocopier. Now this is a photocopier plate. Hopefully I'm going to use that, but it does mean I've got to cut it, which could be interesting. So first thing I've done is, because I don't want to get the picture dirty, I've cut a piece of paper the same size as the picture. I can use that for my measurements for when I'm making the picture frame. Right, so without mucking about anymore, what I do is I'll start chopping the shelf on the table saw to see how much material I've got to work with. Okay, before I cut anything, the board that I'm using, which is the shelf, you can actually see that it's made out of sections of board. Now I don't really want these joins on the frame, so what I'm going to do, if you look here, the width here before the first join should be okay for the picture frame. So what I should do, I'll cut it in strips this wide so I don't get any of these vertical joins. So I'll be a piece out of here, then a piece out of this one, and this one. So that should give me my four sides to the frame. So that, because of the construction of the wood, is determining how I'm going to cut it. All right, let me cut it. Okay, so I've cut my four pieces on the table saw, but I have noticed there's a slight cupping to the piece of wood. Best way to demonstrate this is, obviously this is a flat piece of wood. There's a cup, so the piece of wood is actually bowed like that, or it's not bowed, it's been cut like that. So if I use a piece of paper, that against the flat piece of wood, I shouldn't be able to get the piece of paper underneath it. But here, I can get it under the middle, but not at the end. If I take it to the end, it'll move the wood. Yeah. So that means that this piece of wood is bowed like that. So what I'm going to have to do, a step that I didn't want to do, I'm going to have to run these over the planer or the jointer, and then send them through the thicknesser, just to make sure they're all exactly square and the same thickness. So I'll get on with that right now. Right, well that didn't take very long. I put them both through the plane, all through the planer. Now, much better. My piece of paper, no, can't get it under there at all. Okay, turn it over. No, happy days. Okay, so what I've decided to do is make the frame exactly the same size as the picture. So it's a custom frame, so why not have it a custom size? So what I need to do is measure the height of the picture and the width of the picture. That will give us our dimensions. Let's do that. Okay, so 394 up and 241 across. Now what we need to do is add the thickness of the wood twice. So we know these are all the same size, and that is 52 millimeters. Same again here. Okay, so that'll give us the size of the outside of the frame. Just as a check, once that's in the frame, side to side here, this distance should give us 345. So from the outside to the outside, 345. Life is good. Let's cut some mitre corners. Okay, so I quickly set my mitre saw up to 45 degrees. You can see here, this is 45 degrees. And before I actually cut my final workpiece, what I want to do is a quick experiment on a piece of material exactly the same. I'll do one cut, rotate it, and see if it actually gives me a proper right angle. So let's try that. Okay, so I've got my cut. If I rotate this like this, this should give me a 90-degree angle. Let's check that. Okay, so I've got my most reliable square here. This I know is square. So in theory, this and this should give me a good joint, which it doesn't. Let me show you what we got here. It's not the best. Okay. Not the best. Alright, first thing I've noticed is really I need to change the blade in my mitre saw. So let's do that first. Right, so now I've changed my blade. I'm sure I can do something with this. And I've chopped again another mitre. This time the 90-degree angle is fine, but the problem is I've got a little bit of this. Now this would indicate that my blade in my chop saw is not cutting straight, it's cutting at a slight angle, because I've got a clean joint on one side but a gap on the other. So what I'm going to have to do, or what I have done, is on my mitre table I've got a digital level, okay, and I check that is 0 on the bed plate here, so we'll 0 that, okay, and then if I put it on my blade it should be 90 degrees, okay, so 89.999999999. Alright, so now this is straight, this is 45 degrees, so let's try another cut. Right, after this many test cuts, I've had to now readjust the fence on my mitre saw. I've obviously been chopping something with that and I've sent the adjustment all out. So I've now adjusted the fence, the angle of the blade, I've replaced the blade, I've got an acceptable mitre joint. Let's cut some mitre joints. Right, well that was more difficult than I expected. I now have my 4 sides cut, all the mitres done. Let's see if it fits together. And is it square? Yes, okay. Right, all I've got to do now is join it together. Okay, before I join it together, I need to put some profiling on these. So what I want to do is, here's my frame, okay, like this. What I want to do is I want to have a couple of grooves along here, like this, not too deep. And at the bottom, I just want them to go around the corners here. And then I want to do some engraving here. That's my idea. So what I shall do is I'll set up my router table to make these grooves before I stick it together. And then hopefully the grooves will all match, which will be really nice. Okay, let me get on with that. Okay, so got my router table set up now. I've got the router bit probably about, I don't know, 12 mil away from the fence. The idea is do one pass this way, turn it around, do another pass that way. It should give me 2 grooves. Do that on 3 of the sides. And on the bottom, I've made some little marks here where I want the lines to stop. They correspond with a line here. So I should be able to go along, stop, turn around, go along, stop. When I get to the mark, then that will give me the lines that are the same size. Okay, let me get on with it. Okay, got to the stage now where the grooves are done on the front. I've also done quite a big recess on the back, and that's where the glass is going to sit. What I'm going to do now is glue it together and hold it with my band clamp, and then leave that to dry, and then I'm going to do some additional supports on the corners. So let's glue this together and see what happens. Right, okay, let's leave that. I'm going to go and have some dinner. Leave that for a few hours, and then I'll come back to it and I'll cut some glass. I think that's where it's going to go wrong. Right, so next day, it's still cold. Storm Dennis is still doing its thing. Don't know when that's going to finish. Right, this has been sticking overnight. So let's take our clamp off and see if it actually stays together. Ooh. Right, okay, so now I've got to cut the glass. Not looking forward to this. Let's see if I can do that. Okay, so now I've taken the measurements here for my recess for the glass. I've transferred those to the glass. I've stuck on a straight edge, which is just a rule. Now I'm going to use one of these, which is just a normal glass cutter, and hopefully do a couple of scores down here and then easily break it off. So let's see if I can break that. I better put my glasses on, otherwise it could all go wrong. Right. Okay, so I've got a nice score line on there. Let's take the sharp straight edge off. Nice score line on there. Now what I want to do is put it between a couple of pieces of wood to spread the load. Get off. That's not right. Okay, so when I try to break it, it spreads the load. Okay, let's bring you around the other side so you can see. Okay, so my score line is here. I've sandwiched it between 2 pieces of wood, and in theory I should just be able to press and break this. Oh, look at that. Excellent. Right, so now I've got to do the other side. Okay, didn't break. Yes! Right, let's quickly try the glass in the frame. Okay. I've left a little bit of wiggle room. Oh, yes. Excellent. Right, that fits. Happy days. Happy days, happy days. Right, on to the next bit. Okay, literally just going to take the little sharp edges off where I've cut the glass, just using quite a fine foam pad. Just deep the edge. On pages. That's much better. Okay, so now you've got no jaggedy edges. Excellent, good. Next bit. Okay, and now for the next bit. On the corners, these are just stuck with wood glue at the moment. Now it seems fairly strong, but probably not strong enough because there's a piece of glass going in it. So what I need to do is, on the corner here, I want to put an insert. Now that will bridge the corner, so I end up with a groove like this. Okay, and then the idea is, once I've got this groove on the corners, I can put a piece of wood in. Okay, glue it in, and that will give support across the joint. So what I've done is I've set the height of my table saw blade, so it gives me a nice little, effectively a 45-degree angle. So if I cut into a corner, it will give me a groove as high as it is deep. Okay, so that'll end up giving me this. I've also set up a little stop at the back here. There's a piece of wood which stops around here, clamped on here. So all I've got to do is run my corners onto the saw and it will stop. Then turn it over, run it again up to the stop, and that will give me this. Then I'll make an insert. Is that the one? I'll make an insert, sliver of wood. I'll probably use a piece of sapele that I have. That could go in the corner. Then I can sand it down, and that's bridging the joint. Okay, so I'm going to get on with that. What could possibly go wrong? Okay, so now these are all dry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly cut these off on the bandsaw, and then I can sand them off afterwards. So here we go. Okay, so the frame's all sanded now. I've just temporarily put the glass in. I need a back panel. Now what I'm going to use is a bit of this, which is the back off an old wardrobe. I've cut it to the same size as the glass. What I'll probably do is I'll put this side towards the picture. I put an extra sheet of white paper just to protect, so nothing happens between this and the picture. So basically that fits in there like that, and then I'm going to tack it into place using little brass nails. Yeah, so then if I need to take it out again, I could do so without any trouble. Right, let's do that. I won't put too many in now, just enough to hold it in place. Right, so now I've given it a coat of wax oil. I'm using this stuff, Osmo door oil, because I got some for upstairs on the doors. I've got to leave that for 24 hours. So I'll leave that out here. Obviously I can't do anything else out here because I'll create dust. So I guess I'll just leave that and then give it a second coat. So that'll be another day. And then I'll finally get the picture in it. Okay, so this has been drying overnight with the wax oil, this stuff, but it takes a long time to go off and it's very cold out here, so it's taking longer than necessary. So I think what I'll do is I'll put it all together now, get it hung on the wall so it can actually dry in the house properly to go hard. I mean, at the moment it's touch dry. I like the finish. I shall assemble it now, do its final assembly and get it hung on the wall. So that's it, it's finally finished. On the back, just to hold the picture onto the wall, I've used a couple of these little eyelets and just some string. I'll see how that goes. I might buy a proper picture hanging kit. We'll see how it goes because it is quite heavy. So this is it. Oh yeah, I better undo it. Okay, now I'm pleased with that. I'm liking the finish. Great picture. Now this picture was painted or drawn, hand drawn with pencil by Paul White. What I'll do is I'll leave a link to his website down below. Just a word of warning, if you go on the website it will probably be in Danish, so you might have to push the translate button. And also his gallery has some adult content in it. So be warned, but fantastic artist. So this is going to take pride of place now in our hallway. It's a great picture. I love this picture. It's captured our dog perfectly. Okay, so it's just a video just to show you how I made this picture frame. All right, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you for the next video. Bye. Mm-hmm.